Hello everyone, I'm happy to say that I am going to be continuing my Visual Kei ABCs. It's been a couple years, but I wanted to continue this series and at least have it done by the end of the year. We'll see how it goes. For letter E, there's two bands that I'm going to choose. The first band I was going to choose was Egoist, but I think the lead singer murdered somebody, so I just thought it was like in poor taste to choose Egoist to listen to. So I ended up changing them to a band called 8, which I had no previous knowledge of. I just listened to a couple of their songs and I was like, you know what? I'm feeling this group. Let's review this group. So let's get started reviewing 8. Eight started off as a 4-member band and they were around from 2004 to 2010. There were so many changes, and I think when it comes to like member changes and members leaving, I'm gonna just start putting links to band profiles in the description where you guys can read all the list of band members, who left, who came and went, because I cannot remember all these people. It was also very difficult to find pictures of these band members. I don't know if all the stuff has been lost over time or none of the stuff made it over here to the US to begin with, but it was very difficult to find pictures of 8 that weren't super blurry, so I don't even have pictures for you guys. I'm so sorry. I'm just gonna give you guys the original lineup of when the band first formed. It was started by Kyotaro and Naki. If I'm not mistaken, Naki actually started his own label and 8 was signed under Nachi's label and Naki was in the band. So I wish I had some pictures of him, but I literally don't. I don't know who's who. So I apologize again. Kyotaro was on vocals, Naki was on guitar, and he also did some background vocals. There's a lot of harmonizing in the music, so I'm wondering if the background vocals are Nachi's vocals. The bassist's name was Muku and the drummer's name is Mitsuru. Well, was Mitsuru. There was also another guitarist named Ryo, but he came after the album that I'm going to review because there was only one full album that they released. I don't know if they released any singles or not, but I was able to find that one full album, and that's the one full album I reviewed. Kyotaro, the vocalist, eventually left and was replaced with a female vocalist. Her name is Yu. Some came, some left. I just don't have the capacity to remember everything, so if y'all want to know who left and who came and who went, y'all can look in the description. So let's talk about why I chose 8 to review. Like, out of all the other bands, I already mentioned Egoist was first in line, but there was something I really liked about 8's music. It had this very raw, like garage music feel to it. It made my life significantly easier because they only have one full album. It is called Irrational. This album is super weird because every song I liked had a weird part in it. The flows of the songs were just so weird. I usually use the word consistency, but I'm gonna use the word flow, because when I use the word consistency or say, hey, there are too many transitions, I usually mean they're adding too many things to the song or they're just doing too much, but that's not exactly the problem. The instrumentals are pretty simple and the songs are somewhat catchy. It's just you'll be listening to a song and it will flow in an odd direction that you weren't expecting, like your ears weren't expecting it, and it's just like, interesting thing that you guys did. I'm sure there's a musical term for this phenomenon, but I am not any type of music expert. I'm just doing this for fun. If I were to describe this in another way, it's like you're sitting there and you're like, wow, we really could have just did this chorus again on this part to make the song nice, but I guess we're doing a different thing now. And that's how I would describe most of their songs. It's like, wow, that's catchy, but wow, that kind of is odd. One song I can use as an example of a song that I liked that was kind of odd is track 12. It's called Igan da seishun. I don't know how to describe it. Like, if I heard just a piece of it, I would be like, I don't like this, but oddly it works. For the type of music that this is, I think the vocals are okay as long as they don't go too high, because when Kyotaro be going high with his voice, I'ma just keep that to myself. Though the pitch can be weird, there's this type of voice I like that's like rawish, a little like novice rock singer-esque. It's not the best vocals, but they're putting their heart into it. If I had to give an example, like just so you guys can understand what I'm talking about, I would say Kyoto from Celt is a good example of this type of voice. He has this type of voice where his pitch is sometimes like, but most times I like it. I do think that that type of voice is an acquired taste. I guess at this point I should probably show a song that I liked to its entirety and not just some of it or most of it. I think track 11 is my favorite track on there besides the intro, which I played at the beginning of this video. That is a song that I liked all of. That is the only song that I can say I liked everything. Although, when it comes to this entire album, I do think I will occasionally come back and listen to everything back to back. I like it more listening to all the songs back to back than the songs individually, if that makes sense. My opinion of this album was a lot higher when I first listened to it a couple years ago. Drawing back from my opinion when I first listened to it, I felt like Irrational was really refreshing. Like I said before, it had a very I made this in my garage, raw, upcoming rock type of feel to the music, which now that I've actually read an interview from 8 saying that their music is meant to be listened to live, makes way more sense. I imagine this music gives off really great energy live. Track 3 is actually my second favorite song. I definitely didn't want to forget Aratame Dolce because I listened to that one a lot too. So now that I have presented you guys with bits and pieces of these songs, I'm going to condense this all into some basic likes and dislikes. When it comes to dislikes for 8, my only dislike about 8 is the songs flow in an odd direction. I don't really have any other issues with 8's music. If I had to name the things that I like, I actually have a lot of positive things to say. The songs are catchy, simple rock songs. I would say in both the vocals and instrumental territory, it seems they tried all kinds of stuff with their music. It's kind of weird because they're somewhere in between being experimental enough for the songs to feel different, but still being pretty easy to listen to. Like, it's not so complex that it's overwhelming, even though it's odd. It's not overwhelming. There's some groups you listen to and it's just like, the way y'all compose this song is chaotic. Were you guys on drugs? I heard some harmonicas, I heard some rapping, and lots of different harmonizing techniques with their voices. For a bunch of dudes coming from different genres, I think they did a great job experimenting, but still being cohesive enough for their music not to sound too scattered and fit within the same rock subgenre. Overall, if I had to describe their sound, it would definitely be odd but catchy. I've said this previously about other bands, but I really wish that 8 would have stuck around to release more material. I can only imagine the stuff that they would have made had they stuck around like another 4 or 5 years. I probably would have found many things that I liked from them if they did another full album. On that note, I will no longer be doing like ratings for these groups at the very end of the videos. I've noticed my opinion over time will change, so there's no point in putting ratings that are like written in stone because they're in video form. Like, what if I don't feel the same way after coming back to the group. I feel like there will be some bands that I will go back and listen to and have a completely different opinion of. So I don't know, I just don't feel right putting like ratings in these videos any longer. This ends my review for band 1 under E. I'm gonna try to be more consistent with this series, okay? I can't tell y'all when I'm gonna put the second band out, but I'll try to be more consistent. See you guys in part 2.